Look who it is. You guys, I swear, I think I would have had a better chance at eating a bowl of bone broth with chopsticks than trying to catch up with Nurse Ash. Well, here she is. Everybody, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing today?
Every day is a great day, and it's by choice. Like you got the attitude. Let me just say this to you as we get going here. There's a lot of people on social media doing what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can honestly tell you, and this is coming from a selfless place, you really are in a league of your own. And I say that with all sincerity because you have, yes, your Southern charm works for you, but what you really have going for you is this genuine kindness and a genuine personality that sets you apart from so many people.
Goodness. Thank you. That is very, very humbling. Thank you.
It almost seems like though that you don't recognize that because we see you as the viewers watching you put up these posts and smile and Southern charm and happy-go-lucky. There's a story behind that, right?
Absolutely. Several stories, several chapters of several stories. Yes.
Right. So all of us watching you think that there's this bubbly personality and Nurse Ash has no problem. She's always smiling, upbeat, positive. But through the smiling, the backstory is, and I made some notes here because you sent me a short bio a little while ago. And in that short bio, there's so much to unpack because here you go. Twice divorced.
Yes.
Breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
Full-time mom of how many kids?
I just have one son.
One son.
Mm-hmm.
And in the school RN. So you have a lot going on for you. And your backstory is you had some challenges. So I have to ask you, your secret weapon, I'm going to guess, is faith.
It is. It is.
Go ahead, share a little bit.
The faith is within us. It's not something I don't have to go seek it somewhere else, nothing external. The good thing about faith, and my faith is to our Heavenly Father, to Jesus. But everybody, everybody's just different, I'm sure. But He lives in me, and so I can seek refuge and seek faith and understanding and clarity within me via my faith. So I don't have to go around looking for it. It's in here.
Well, I mean, were you taught that as a kid? We all have what you have. Every single one of us is capable
Mm-hmm.
of tapping into that. The challenge is, A, we don't believe it, or B, we don't know how. So how do you have so much faith to get through what you've been through? Were you taught that as an itty bitty, as a girl?
I was, but not overly. It's not like my parents were fanatical or, we weren't in church every time the doors opened. But my parents were very intuitive and they were very family oriented. So my dad, when we were small, he would have devotionals at home with my brother and my sister and myself and my mom. And we would have these little devotionals in the evening just where we could talk and give feedback and and he would read some scripture from the Bible and just do these little devotionals with us at home. Yes, he did.
Okay, that's great. At what point did you say, because in the beginning, Ashley, we all know this, in the beginning, you're going through the motions. As kids, we say, okay, mom and dad are putting this on us. I went to Catholic school as a kid. I went through the motion, wore the tie, and said I had no idea what half the prayers meant. You're going through the motions. There's going to come a time, though, where that you're going to get a taste of that faith and how powerful it is. When you go back in your childhood, what was the first time you said, oh my gosh, this is the real deal?
Brett, it would take a year for me to tell you everything, but it's just the course of my childhood and how I felt as a child and how we moved a little bit when I was a kid, and I was feeling like having to readjust every time we moved to different friend settings and different schools and things. And so these devotionals at home and knowing that and applying that to being at school and not having any friends initially and meeting new people. I mean, all I had was the Lord. I mean, really, at times, because like I said, He's inside me. So even at school, I might be pissed or upset or something about maybe something not going my way. And then I could just kind of retreat into myself and say, God, help me. Please help me get through this. I mean, I don't know what else to do. Please help me. I mean, it's not a brain surgery. It's just my little way.
That's just who you are. That's just who you are. You know, and I take my boy to church on Sundays. Him and I have father and son bonding on Sundays. And our pastor will flat out say, there's some times my faith was tested. Am I doing the right thing? I'm going to seminary school. I don't really want to go to seminary school. I feel like I should drop out. Our faith is always tested, Ashley. You know this. So as much as faith-based as you were, and you currently as you are, there had to be a time you're like, okay, now wait a minute, God, you said you were here for me. I don't feel you're here. Okay. So what's the earliest recollection you felt that?
Well, I tell you, probably when I was in high school, my first husband, I was dating him in high school. He was 6 years older than me. Why my parents let me see somebody, my dad was real sick. That's a whole different story. But I was seeing a man that was 6 years older than me when I was 16 years old. He had been married before me, and he had a child. And so his sister was one of my best friends. And anyway, we hooked up, and it was the most abusive, horrible situation I've ever been in from teenage years till early 20s. It was so tested at that point. And I'm not saying that I haven't questioned and I haven't gone off the path. Lord knows I have and do still. But yes, my faith was tested then. And I'm like, why is this happening to me? Because it was such an abusive, horrible, isolating situation for about 6 or 7 years. So yes.
Okay. And then do you look back and say, okay, now I see why I was tested? Is there a lesson there for you somewhere?
Absolutely, 100%. The lesson, you mean the lesson spiritually or the lesson as a human? I mean, what angle do you mean?
When you look back, you came out of that better because of it, not worse because of it, correct? Eventually?
Right. Yes, that's what prompted me to go to nursing school. Absolutely.
Okay.
And to finish, because I was married to him during nursing school, and he grounded me. I know this is not a podcast that's a whole other can of worms. And I nearly did not finish nursing school. And I had to go to all my instructors and beg and plead and explain my case. And by the grace of God, I'm like, somehow, some way, I have to finish this or I have nothing.
Right.
And so, yes.
And I heard you mention earlier, Dad was sick through all this?
Yes, my dad had a brain tumor. Mm-hmm.
Through all of it?
Yes. And he died when I was 19. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And Mom, I'm sure her attention with focus was on Dad at that time, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. So here's little Ash, teenage Ash, struggling with this challenge as an adult who's very abusive, but you didn't really have anybody to turn to. Is that what I'm hearing?
You are.
So Mom was consumed and giving all her attention to Dad. And here you are in this abusive relationship, and you're turning. And who's your support system? Who's your support at that point in your life? I know you said God. You're heavily faith-based. As a physical person, who would you, sisters, brothers, friends, anybody, aunt, uncle, somebody to turn to help you with this abusive relationship?
Well, my friend. Like I said, his sister was one of my best friends. She was my age. So I had her, and I had my brother and his girlfriend and she's my sister-in-law now, but she was one of my best friends. I had them. Mm-hmm. So, but it was terrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Awful. And how did it finally end? How did you finally get the strength and wherewithal to get the hell out of it? Did you shoot him?
It was coming down no, as far as I know, I think he's still alive. And that's a whole other story that I'll have to tell you as we progress. But
Sure.
That was the beginning of the end, was when he grounded me, because we were arguing and I told him I was leaving. And so I went and stayed with my mom for like a week, and he was so sad and crying and begging and pleading. I go back and it was horrific. It was like a torture chamber. Anyway, so that's why he locked me down, and for like a week I couldn't go to nursing school, and he wouldn't let me use the car. And anyway, but finally, I had graduated nursing school. Let me just fast forward this just a little bit. I was almost done then. I had graduated nursing school. I got my first job. I was at work, and I worked 3 to 11 shift, and I got off a little bit early. I had a feeling something wasn't going right, and so with him, he was acting odd, and so I got off a little bit early, and I went and I found him with another woman in a bar. I did. And I went up in the bar and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "You're supposed to be at work." And anyway, so I left him after that.
Right.
It was hard because I had been with him for years and years at this point, but I did it. So
good for you. Good. And do you bump into him at all to this day, or no?
Well, I'm still friends with my ex-mother-in-law, his mother.
Yeah.
Love her to death. We're still friends.
Sister.
His sister, he has 2 sisters. They're still very close to me. And he, speaking of like narcissists and the hoovering and everything, he hoovered me after 30 years. About a year or 2 ago, he was trying to reconnect. And I'm like, not in this lifetime.
Are you on your mind? Yeah,
I
right.
promise you, yeah.
Man.
So,
Man.
yeah.
And then husband number 2 comes along, and I heard you talk about the second dude like he is a gem. Like he is so good at co-parenting with you.
Is.
Complete opposite, right?
Yeah. Complete opposite.
So that relationship obviously didn't last, but was that parting mutual? Would you call it mutual, the way you and him, the last one, split?
I would say we were married almost 25 years, and I had the breast cancer and was coming through with that and was healed, and he was very supportive through that. But when our son graduated high school, and kind of empty nest syndrome, and I was working out and wanting to run a few little 5Ks and do some things, and he did not like that, and he did not want me doing anything outside of him. Now, he didn't try to lock me in a closet, didn't beat me, but he did not like that.
Yeah. So, and I speak, I really feel for these guys. I do. My ego wants to tear them apart, just rip into them. But at the same time, my soul says they're hurting inside. And if you're hurting that bad inside, rather than, tear somebody else up, just be man enough to go get some help. That's my whole point. Nobody's perfect, right?
No,
Everybody has,
and I'm not.
Everybody has their challenges and flaws and everything.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you know what? Leave the other person alone. Go take care of you, man. And that's my whole point of this. Is that take care of you so you can leave the other person alone. So here, this is going to get interesting because I see online so many times these posts about the narcissist, and every other post is about how they experience something like you just explained. Mm-hmm. So the person that's recognizing, wait a minute, because we all have that sixth sense that tells us something's not right here. Something is not right. We have that innate ability to pick up on it. There's a lot of posts right now online about narcissism, right? And I had a conversation with Lisa Daly, the best-selling author. She was on the podcast the other day, and I asked her, and I said, I want an honest answer. I said, do women get involved with these men a lot of times because they feel they can change them? And she says, absolutely yes. A lot of them do. So if a woman's somebody listening to this right now is getting into a relationship and their guts saying something's not right here, but I know I can change that dude, what do you tell that woman?
You're not going to change anybody. You do good to change yourself. You cannot change another person. It
Are you
won't
guilty?
happen.
Are you guilty of that? Are you?
Yes, absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's not something you should be ashamed of. I want you to, this whole podcast about being fucking bold, being honest and letting people know, look at, it's a tendency to want to do that. We understand that. But at the same time, I never hear that ending well. I never hear a good, oh yeah, I changed a guy and now we're happily married. Or a guy says, yeah, I really changed this woman and we're just living a life of bliss and everything's great. No, I've never heard that happy ending. So rather than wasting your time with somebody who's not compatible with you, maybe, like you just said, work on you and then find somebody who you can actually be compatible with rather than somebody you can try to change or complete or fix. Lisa said, oh yeah, women like fixer-uppers. Fixer-uppers. I mean, fixer-uppers, not happy.
No, and in my instances, the men became dependent on me to fix them. So it fed it even more like, do something, help me. How are you doing this? How did you get through this? So it even feeds it even more and strengthens that connection there, in a negative way. So because they become reliant on you.
Right. And now you become almost like a doormat.
Yes. Right.
Ashley, they say, we've all heard that the stress can cause a body to go into dis-ease. Looking back at everything you've been through, all the stress for that first relationship, that first marriage, that stress put on you, do you think that had anything to do with that breast cancer?
Maybe, not necessarily, but I mean, it could have, triggered some, or caused some immunity issues, maybe a decreased immune response somewhat. But the breast cancer that I had, it's an atypical breast cancer. It wasn't the normal hormone fed. It was a different, strange, rare kind of cancer. So who knows, maybe.
Right. And, stress can all do, me personally speaking, I don't know if you know my backstory. I suffer from debilitating depression, paralyzed anxiety, chronic insomnia, major suicidal ideation, PTSD. I was a wreck. I put a lot of stress on this body for a period of my life. I was escaping suicide on a daily basis for many years.
Oh, goodness.
So I know that when I was in that state of mind, there was a ton of stress in my body. And I was debilitated to the point I had to walk away from a 6-figure income. I've hit the floor so many times from panic attacks, anxiety, trips to the ER in the middle of the night. I didn't sleep for months, almost close to years at end. So that stress in the body takes its toll. I get that. So that's where that question came from. So getting back to
I did not know that about you.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So getting back to the ladies or people who are listening to you right now about your experiences, what are you telling that person? The first instinct, the first red flag that pops up, and what red flags did you ignore because they look good in church clothes?
Oh my gosh, absolutely missed, or my intuition, Brett. I knew that it was not correct. The first couple of times, because he was an alcoholic too. So let me say that my first husband was an alcoholic. So the first couple of times, him getting drunk and slamming me around and accusing me of looking at other guys and this and that. I mean, I should have known what. I mean, I'm 16, 17 years old. How could he be doing this to me, So anyway, I knew. And most women, if they're honest with themselves, they know those deal-breaking situations and they're going past that deal breaker. And when you go past the deal breaker, that's where it amps up to so much more toxicity and so much more problems with anxiety, with suicidal ideations, with anxiety like what you're talking about, because you are going against your soul.
Right.
You're going against your conscience. You can't do that. I mean, you will end up DYING if you go against your very soul.
True.
So,
it's true. It's so true. So the advice you're giving somebody is like, you're not going to change. You're not going to change that person. So work on yourself. Take care of you. Is it okay? It could be twofold though, Ashley. Well, I don't know if I deserve any better than this guy. I mean, he does. He's not that bad. If your self-worth or self-esteem is low and you don't see yourself in a higher light, then you're going to probably settle for somebody you shouldn't be with. Fair?
Fair. 100%. 100%. Yes.
You and Dad, before he took ill, how was that relationship? You and Dad, did you have a nice close bond with Dad?
Yes, I did. I had a great relationship with my dad, and my dad could not stand that boyfriend. And I fought my dad over that boyfriend because we didn't get married until after my dad died.
Oh.
But yeah. My dad knew, and my dad couldn't stand it. But it was like the more he said, the more I was going to prove to him, I do have a good partner. I do. You are going to like him. You're going to love me. I'm going to make you love him.
Yeah. Right. While you're trying to make him love you, you're going to make Dad try to love him. Right. It's a big old mess. Turns out to be a big mess. So now, fast forward to 2025, after everything you've been through, the cancer, the toxic relationships, the divorce, amicable divorce, you have your son. You and him are close. Mm-hmm. That's your baby boy.
Yes.
Yeah, I see you talking. You did the duck video a couple weeks ago, and you were out there with the ducks in the golf course. That was a great.
I'm with them all the time. Yeah.
That's a great video. So what do you tell him? What advice do you get after everything you've been through? To hell and back, the advice you're giving that boy for life is what?
I tell him, first of all, be secure in yourself. Be secure in your morals, your moral compass, and your standards, and know them inside and out. So when you are kind of stretching some boundaries or going outside of what you normally would allow, that's your sign. That's your sign to pull back. That's your sign that something is not right. And I tell him, as far as girlfriends, and he does have a girlfriend, and she's awesome. And I tell him, you have to be careful because he's an empath, and he tends to want to spend every waking minute with his partners and this and that. And I'm like, you have got to let the other person breathe.
Right.
You have to work on you and allow them to work on them. And you have separate lives. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything to talk about, for one thing. What is there to talk about at the end of the day if you don't have separate lives? So I tell him just to be very secure in himself, his faith, his moral compass, and know what his bottom line is. Know what are deal breakers. And he does. He's really come a long way.
That's awesome. And his dad, him and his dad with the second husband, your second husband is his father. They're tight. Him and the boy are tight.
Very.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. I told my son this the other day. I said, Cash, I've told you I love you more this week than I heard my entire childhood. And I make it a point to just say, look, man, you're my reason why, and he doesn't understand everything right now, but he's my why I got through what I got through. As far as why I didn't take myself out. When I had that pearl handle pistol in my hand, and I'm looking in the mirror, thinking about blowing the brains out the side of my head in the bathroom floor, and I just dropped him off at school thinking, am I really going to do this? And leave him without a father and not be able to pick him up today from school? I mean, all this stuff's going through your head. And it was the most awful feeling to look at myself in a mirror and saying, am I going to take myself out right here? Is this where it ends? Ashley, it was the worst feeling. And I lived like that for years and years. And that boy, he doesn't know this right now, but he is the reason I'm sitting here today talking to all of you guys, because if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't be here. And I can honestly say that he's my why. So when I hear you say that you and that boy are tight, there's nothing more important than having a mother, father, parent, be close to those kids, man. We only have so much time with these kids, and then they're gone. So give everything you could possibly give at the time you have them, because what you're teaching them now, man, that's what they're going to take out in the real world. So good on you.
Good on you. Good on you for the insight and the fortitude within yourself.
Yeah.
To focus on him externally instead of internally, and go with that.
Right. You know, it's so important. And now, are you gun shy? Like, are you dating?
I have.
Yeah. What's it like? What's that like, Ashley? Because obviously, first, let me preface this.
Okay.
After everything you've been through, I'm sure it's going to be, you're going to be a little gun shy. Like, you know, what's the point? Maybe, could be instinctively. Secondly, the world out there, the dating world right now is very challenging. So you got a lot going against you. So how do you manage that right now with everything else you got going on?
Well, honestly, I have had a couple of light relationships because I've been divorced almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been the few I've been in were going in a toxic direction. Absolutely. And I had to, even though I was developing feelings for especially one of them, I had to detach and move on, because I'm not going to burn up the rest of my life in toxicity. So it might hurt. This is for all the ladies and men out there that are trying to get out of a relationship or in toxicity. You got to think, it's bad now. It hurts to move on, but at least if you get out, there is hope. If you stay, there's no hope. You just, burn that time. So,
what is it though? I mean, what? I guess the question is, what is it? I want to I want to reach out to any guys out there who are man enough to say, look, Brett, I'll tell you what it is. I want, and to be serious, I want to have a conversation with a guy saying, I have this tendency to be a narcissist. I have this tendency. I want them to talk about this. I want a guy to open up and say, yes, I've been, but I'm going through the process of becoming a better person. And here's what I can share with other guys going through it. I want a guy to step up and be the example. Say, look, man, I was bad. I've done some things not proud of, but I had the balls to say, you know what? I'm be man enough to step up and take care of myself so I can go on in a healthier direction. And here's what I can share with anybody who's going through it. That's who I'm looking for next on this podcast.
Absolutely.
So, right?
Do that. Yes. Yes.
It's easy. I guess they feel it's easier to intoxicate another person's life out of selfishness than to be selfless, go get help, and then be the better person.
I think in the instances that I've encountered, that those individuals honestly do not want to come below surface level. They do not want to feel. They don't want to think about anything negative. Everything has to be cotton candy 24 hours a day. And so they'd have to do a whole lot of work to undo that lifetime of, being a narcissist or borderline or toxic, whatever,
Sure. And I'm guessing you're at church every Sunday.
No, I'm not. Because I do work a second job, but my other job was at a psych unit, and I worked every other Sunday. So I got out of the habit of going, and now I do home health on the side, and I don't do that job, and I could go back, but I don't routinely, but I do my own.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Mr. Wright's at church.
He probably is. He probably is. Or maybe I didn't meet Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright's done went on down the road.
You never know. In God's timing, right?
Yeah,
right. In God's timing. So I guess if you're not at church and not on dating, you're not online. Mm-hmm. You get to the point and say, look, I'm good. I'm at a point. I'm just good, right? After a while,
I'm there right now. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, you got to get to a point. I'm good. Listen, I'd rather be in no company than in bad company.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. Yes, Brett, I'm by myself. I, don't have anybody telling me when to do something, when not to do something, how to spend my money, what vacation I'm going to go on, what I'm going to do. And I love it. I do. I love it.
I bet you do. And it's one thing to be alone versus lonely. You can be alone and be cool with it. You can be alone and not be lonely. And that's where I think you I think
Yeah,
you
I'm
are.
not lonely. Mm-mm,
I don't
not
think
at
you're
all.
lonely. I don't see you as
I'm
being
not.
lonely. You got a
I'm
great
not.
personality. You got so much going for you. And I say this to you, and I don't, there's no ulterior motive here for me to say this to you. I'm telling you what I'm picking up when you do these videos and these shorts online. You know, you have the smile, the charm. You seem very content with who you are. Yes, you're very attractive. You've been told that since you've been in pigtails. That's a given. But what you really have is a personality to go with that. And let me say this: as guys see that can look as someone who could be vulnerable. Like, she's so sweet. Oh, I see. I can slide it right into her life, and I can take over. I can intoxicate this one because she is so sweet and kind and caring. You know what? And that's the truth, Ashley. And that's the truth. The guys can see you coming up from a mile away, and they're like, "Oh, here's an easy one here." But you got, so right now you're at a good place in your life. Recognize that you're not going to get back into another toxic relationship. You have too many experience with the other ones to let anybody else come in your life and ruin you like that again.
No, that's not going to happen. And no, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I am nice and kind, and try to treat others how I want to be treated, but don't get it twisted.
Don't cross Nurse Ash.
That's
Good
right.
for you. Good for you. I'm glad to hear you say that. I really am. It means a lot.
Thank you.
So what's your future plans? That school gets out in the summer, right? They're getting out of here pretty soon. And then
tomorrow is my last day. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you spend your time now? What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know if you've seen, but like one of my best friend's son is a country music singer, and I travel around with them and do like their merchandise and stuff at shows. And his name's Timothy Wayne, and he is amazing. He has a few songs out right now.
Is that McGraw's kid?
It's his nephew.
Nephew, gotcha. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you travel with them?
I do, and
that's
it's
awesome.
Fun.
I saw you put a post up the other day before you went to this concert. You're going to go in, put a post up, then you're going to go inside and help sell some merch.
Yes, and I did.
That's good for you. Good. And you enjoy that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like I'm a kid again. I love it.
That's awesome.
Because you meet so many people, and it's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I gave, if BFKNBOLD says, Ashley, I'm going to sponsor a billboard for you for 1 month. It's going to be on I-10 down there by Louisiana. I-10, the big, you got to get that?
That's the bill over here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to sponsor a big billboard for Nurse Ash. What would that message be in I-10 for people driving by? What would you want them to know? What message would you put? I'd say, go ahead, have at it. You put anything you want on that billboard. What's your message to the world on that billboard?
Well, Brett, you know what it is. Tell me what it is. You ought to know what it's going to be.
It's going to be something faith-based.
Actually, it's not. It's not. But I mean, It should be, but it's not.
Okay, what is it going to be?
Tell me what you think it's going to be. You've watched some of my videos. What do I?
I would say love yourself. Some of the self-care, something to do with yourself. I mean, coming from you, those are two things that come to mind. Love yourself and love God. Put God first and everything. Allow God to be first. Put God first. You never come in second. Something like that. That's what
absolutely put God first. But I always say, who's the prize? You're the prize. The prize is not external. It's not somebody else. It's not another person. It's you.
Right.
So within.
Within. Seek within.
Right.
That's good. That's good. Now, and what's a day in the life look like for you? I mean, do you obviously we all do. What's your biggest challenge right now? Like, what's the biggest challenge about being who you are right now today?
Sometimes there's not enough time in a day to do some of the things I need to do. I mean, not like anybody else. Sometimes there's just not enough time.
And what's the best thing about being a Nurse Ash?
Well, I have the best job in the whole wide world. I do. And I get to spend it with kids all day, with teenagers. And I love teenagers. And so they are constantly giving me perspective on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I see you as, and tell me how accurate I am. I see you as somebody who actually enjoys being who they are. And now there's a lot of stuff on social media. And I know if you pull that curtain back and look behind the curtain, you're going to see a whole nother post. With me, I want to be just as real as possible. What you see here is what you get, and that's not the case with social media. A lot of times there's a facade. We all know this.
Right.
So
yeah.
how accurate am I in saying that you appear to really love who you are and enjoy the life you're living today? How accurate is that?
It's 100% spot on. I mean, it would be offensive. It would be offensive, I would think, to the Lord that I would not love this life he's given me when he saved me. I mean, I had 16 rounds of chemo. I had an aggressive, rare form of cancer. How can I not? And that's how I pull myself out of little kinks of depression. It's like, wait, this is a gift. And he gave it to me twice.
See?
Yeah, it's a gift.
It is a gift. I tell my 11-year-old boy this every day. I said, man, listen, every day I take him to school, I put a knuck on him. I say, I say, happy, whatever day it is, like today, happy Wednesday. We knuck. It's another, and now he's trained. It's another day to be awesome. And every day is a gift, man. And if you treat it like a gift, you treat life as a gift because you are a miracle in God's highest form of all creation. You really are. If you think about it, you are a miracle, and think about the process. I tell them this: how many sperm did it make it to the egg? How many millions of sperm did it make it? What the odds of you being born? Just love life as a gift because it's not your life; it's you are life, and you take it, you ascend to a higher level of living. You start to appreciate things at a different level of life, and that's my message to not only my boy but to myself, obviously, and to the world. Let's treat life as a gift.
Awesome. That's right. That's awesome. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's how we all should approach life. So anyway, and if I had one more question to ask you, how do you, in your opinion, okay, I wrote it down. In your opinion, does Southern hospitality include holy water and hot sauce? A little bit of both?
Little H and H. Yeah. Little H and H.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is. Yeah, hey, for real. It is.
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Good. So leave them with a little bold nugget here. As we're signing off and saying goodbye, and I appreciate your time. You got to get back to what you're doing. I appreciate that. So as we're signing off here, somebody listening right now that needs to hear something you have to say, send them off with a little bold inspiration.
Well, let me tell you, life is not perfect for all of us. You, me, all of us. And so don't think that you're on this journey alone and that you're the only one that's going through some horrific, terrible times, because you're not. We all do. But you just have to know that what is bothering you right now, tell the kids this here, what is bothering you right now, what is so hurtful to you right now, in 5 years probably is not going to be the same thing. You're not even going to be thinking about what's happening today. Having Jesus or your spiritual person, what is important to you, having that resonate just in your mind and through your body every day, and just knowing that you have a higher purpose than this problem that's eating at you today, and just let that be your guiding force, that you're going to come out of this stronger and better.
That's right. And that's how I look at that. I say this all the time. I wouldn't wish what I went through on anybody. That period of my life, those 5 years of consistent escaping suicide on a daily basis without any relief from that, those dark days of depression were awful. And I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. At the same time, I wouldn't trade it for anything because it made me who I am today. And looking back, I'm a different person. So I resonate with what you're saying. I appreciate who you are and what you stand for, Ashley.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for who you are. And I can tell that you are a new creature than what you were back then. And
you're 100% correct. I literally love life. I love life, and I love life. And I appreciate having you on. Be in touch. Don't be a stranger. Have a great time on tour this summer. Have fun.
Check him out. Y'all check him out.
Go ahead. Give him a plug.
Timothy Wayne, he's a country music artist, and he is going to be on tour with his Uncle Tim and at different cities across the nation. So I'll be seeing y'all.
Awesome. Awesome. And tell anybody in case they haven't followed you yet, tell them where they can find you on social media. Are you all or just TikTok?
No, I'm Facebook, I'm Instagram, I'm Snapchat, I'm everything. Nurse
Tell 'em.
Ashley Daly.
Nurse.
Nurse Ashley Daly. Now on Facebook, I'm Nurse Ashley Martin Daly, and also on Instagram, I'm Nurse Ashley Martin Daly. So
Nurse Ashley Martin Daily, like Daily.
Yep.
Daily.
Yep. Yes.
All right. You're the best. I appreciate you. Enjoy
Thank
the rest of your
you.
day.
You're the
Okay.
best, Brett.
Thanks for the time.
You have a great day.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you having me. Bye.
Thank you.